Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
Exodus.
Not a Bible game.
Yeah. Moses taking people into space. Exodus is a 4X game. A 4X game, what that means is it's any game where you explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate.
You read that well at this.
No, that was
right over there.
That was from here. No, but
right
okay. But there's been a lot of these games. The term was first coined for Masters of Orion, going into space, and there's been a lot of computer games that have done that. Civilization is the one that comes to mind, but space games that have done it, there's really only one that just kind of swept the board. And that's Twilight Imperium 3.
TI3.
Which is a grandiose space opera with politics and spaceships. It's from Fantasy Flight Games. And it's one that a lot of people really like. It's also a game that a lot of people don't play because it's 8 hours.
Yeah.
I like it. But as we get older and our schedules get somewhat more cramped, I mean, Sam and I normally have, an 8-hour day every other day or so?
Yeah.
Just free time. But, so we don't have as much time. And to play Twilight Imperium, you really have to schedule it out.
Yeah.
It's not like you got a game thing, you're like, you know what? We're playing Twilight.
I would do that.
Yeah, I know, but then you'd be there the rest of the day.
Which would be fine.
So anyhow, we're always looking for a Twilight Imperium Light, and a lot of games have tried to claim that crown over the years, like Galactic Emperor.
Not a bad game.
Eclipse.
Liars!
So
Eurogame liars!
So anyhow, when I got this one, and I have to give a caveat here that I did do a paid preview for the prototype of this, but this is the finished product. When I got the prototype, I sent out a thing and I said, we're playing a Twilight Imperium Light type. So I invited Sam over because I knew he would do the smackdown on whether this would be a good game or not. Before we get to his reaction, which he will give, let's take a look at the game. Now realize that there's a ton of things going on in this game, and while it's not a difficult game to understand once you get everything, I won't cover every detail in this review, just trying to give you an overview. So this is what a player board will look like. These are all the technologies you can get. These are the costs of the upgrades. Down here is an important part. These are resources that you'll get over the course of the game. Right here you have what are called CPs. Just think of that as money. These little blue cylinders are worth 5 of these single ones here. So here I would have 4, I guess I have 15, 5, 10, and then 5 more. Over here is Axiom, and these are used mostly for building ships. And then over here I have Phasium, and that's mostly used for upgrading ships and building weapons of mass destruction. And then over here I have population cubes, and I'll be using population cubes for a couple things. Up here I have my 4 different types of ships. There are 4 different ships you have in the game, and there's 2 copies of each ship. And each of these ships has a matching blueprint, and that blueprint has a couple things. One, it shows you how fast the ship can go. Every ship starts with a drive, and you can see each of these drives allows those ships to move 1. You can upgrade those drives to a better drive as time goes by. This one allows you to go 2 now, or you can even upgrade it to a drive 3 if you have room for that. Each ship can only have 1 drive, and that shows how fast the ship can go. Ships have other compartments which allow guns to be added to them. That lets you roll a certain amount of dice. That one lets you roll 5. Or here's a 2 and a 1. So this ship, if I had all these guns on, would be shooting 8 dice in total. There's also a gun that lets you shoot 3 dice. And then there are shields that you can put into these triangle areas that will protect you from different things. And so each ship has different spots, and you'll be able to upgrade them over the course of the game. Now, At the beginning of each game, you're going to be building a map. And I'm not going to build the whole map for you, but let's take a look over here as to what some of the elements on a map. This would be your home planet. You would start with 3 population on it, and it's going to grow more population each turn. That's what you'll start from. And there will be other planets that you're going to over the course of the game. There'll be empty space, of course, but there will also be planets that produce CPs. There'll be planets that produce phasium, and there'll be planets that produce the actinium. And you're trying to get to those planets. You're also trying to get to the main Trade Council area, the High Council, because whoever controls this at the end of the game will get points. Now, I'm just throwing these tiles out there, but you would actually place these tiles very specifically because you notice each of these tiles has a number on it, and you would want all those numbers the same direction. So you see 2's facing that direction, so 2 should be facing that direction on this one too. When your ship is in a spot and you move a ship, you'll put tokens next to each ship and you'll flip it over to show which direction the ship is going to go that turn. You can put a chip in there that has nothing on it to show that the ship does not move. I could put that there and then show that the ship doesn't move at all. So that's a way that the movement happens. And the movement happens at the end of each turn, and it happens twice. And then after movement happens, you'll roll dice with your guns and try to blow up your enemy's shields and blow up their ships if you're in the same spot. Or if some of these ships, like for example this ship here, has room to carry population cubes, you'll be able to drop population on planets to take control of that planet. At the beginning of each turn, you will mine off each planet. There'll be a certain amount of resources that a planet will start with. You can see the numbers on them. And so when you find a planet, you'll put that many resources on that planet. So this one would start with 5 of the CPs that are worth 5 each. As the game progresses, you have a chance to put more on that planet, but this is all it starts with. And at the beginning of each turn, if you're on a planet, you'll be able to mine off that planet, so you have these resources to use. At the beginning of each round, players are also going to be voting on one of these laws to take place. You'll draw 3 random laws and place them here at A, B, and C. And there's different kinds of laws. For example, the ship ban, build ship actions and resolution has no effect. So you won't be able to build ships. This is a resolution, so it lasts for 1 turn. An executive decision, all players must return all of their phasium to the bank. That's a one-time immediate effect. And then there are laws. The cost of all gray technologies are reduced by 2 CP. And that's something that stays in effect for the rest of the game. Each player has a token that matches one of these, and you'll hold that out and do a blind bidding process. You'll pick one of these tokens, and you can add CPs to that for your bid, and whichever one of these laws gets the most bids for that, or the most votes essentially, becomes a law or a resolution or executive decision, whatever happens. Players also will vote on turn order, and whoever votes the highest for turn order gets to choose, and usually you will pick the Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor. They're the top 2, and they're very critical. Not only are they worth points if you control these at the end of the game, but they also get to pick a bonus action. Let's talk about actions, because this is really the heart of the game. Each player gets to play 2 action cards per turn. They will take one of the cards and play it from their hand, and then the cards are resolved in turn order, and then you'll play another card from your hand, and those cards are played in turn order. So you get to pick 2 different cards from your hand. When you pick a card, you do the top part. However, everyone else has the opportunity to do the bottom part. If you do your own bottom part, you have to take a population cube off your planet and put it on there. If you do someone else's, you have to put 2 population cubes on there. And so when you put out let's say I want to do banking, I'm allowing other players to do research. And so you have to keep that in mind. So you have the opportunity essentially to do 4 actions per turn. So the actions are, banking is a very simple one. You simply roll a die, and that's how many CP you get. You need money, banking's the way to go. Build ships allows you to build ships. The cost for each ship is on that ship. For example, you can see this one here. Cost 1 actinium and 3 CP, and it's worth 1 victory point at the end of the game if you have for each of those ships that you have built. Then we have buy upgrades, and again, this is where you buy upgrades. Now you can only buy upgrades that you've researched the technology for, but hopefully if you want good ships, you will research better technology. Here's trade. Trade's an important thing, because what you will do here is you go to the market. Let's say you're using the 4-player market here, and I want to trade in, I want to either buy actinium or phasium or sell them. It's up to me whether I buy or sell, but whatever I do, the first person to use this is going to put their cube there, and they're going to sell at that rate. If you notice, here it's 3 to 1 and 2 to 1, but if all the other players have gone and I want to do trading also, I'm going to end up paying 6 to 1 and 5 to 1, which is not nearly as good of a deal. So the first person to use trade will have a benefit. So that's what's over there. The next one is mining, and this is where you will add more resources to your planets. You know, you'll deplete your planets from resources after a while, so you want to add more resources to those planets to get it off. And then research, my favorite. Each player has a research board here, and it shows you all these different technologies. Technologies are all different things. They allow you to build weapons of mass destructions. They allow you to buy better upgrades for your ships. They give you special benefits. For example, when each turn you have 3 population cubes that come out instead of 2. Or perhaps when you mine, advanced mining lets you roll 2 dice instead of 1. Or you can play 3 cards per turn, master politics instead of just 2 for the action cards. Or basic politics, where you can play the same card more than once. Or when you pull resources off a planet, you pull 2 of them instead of 1. So there's all sorts of things that you can decide what you want. Each of these things is here in a different track for different reasons. For one, remember that one law where gray technologies are worth -2. Each technology has a cost. So you can see here that, for example, the advanced actinium extraction has a cost of 7. You can build any technology you want. However, for each technology of the same color and the same type, you have a discount of 1. So let's say, for example, and you use your population cubes to mark these, let's say I want to build advanced actinium extraction, but I already have a fusion drive, and I have basic research, and I have over here advanced phasium extraction. Now, this one is the same type, has the same symbol, so that gives me -1. Here's another -1 and another -1, so that's -3 because they're in the same column. And then basic research itself, the benefit of that is -1 on all these types, so I have -4. So instead of that costing me 7, it only costs me 3 CPs. So you can see that if you get enough benefits and discounts, you can build these higher ones more quickly. So it's up to you which one you'll get. There's no way you'll be able to build all of them over the course of a game. I said that the Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor are important, and that's because at the beginning of each round, the Vice Chancellor is going to look through all these different bonus actions, and he's going to pick 2 of them. So let's say he looks through them and says, I'll pick Research, and I'll pick Build Ships. He gives both of them to the Chancellor, and then the Chancellor is going to pick one of these, or he'll pick none of them, but whichever one he picks, everybody will have an opportunity to take that bonus action after the regular actions are done. So that can be a pretty powerful thing. And that's basically the game. I mean, there's other things going on, but what you're going to do is you're playing a certain number of turns, and after the turns are over, you're going to get victory points on this track. You get victory points for destroying enemy ships. You get victory points for every ship you have out on the board. You get victory points for every space that you control on the board. You get victory points for each planet is worth a specific amount of victory points. And if you're in the final council or the Chancellor or Vice Chancellor, whoever has the most points at the end of a certain number of turns is the winner. And I do not want to forget a really cool thing over here, the Centurion resistance. Many of the spots on the board at the beginning of the game are going to have these ships placed in them. And these ships, basically the 1, 2, or 3 shows how difficult the ship is. And when you go into that spot, you're going to draw a resistance card, which will be placed over here. And each resistance card, there's a 1, and here's a 3, shows you how powerful the ship is that you're fighting. You don't know how powerful, but you have kind of an idea before you get into the fight. For example, this one has 1 gun and 1 shield, no big deal. While this one here has 5 guns and 3 shields. However, once you beat it, you can keep it until the end of the game for victory points, or you can discard it for a benefit. For example, you can discard this one to immediately learn anti-gravity drive, the triple drive. Here, this one you can keep for 1 point at the end of the game, or you can discard to immediately receive from the bank's tax-free 1 5 CP. So it's up to you, and that adds to the game. You can put these out there and players can attack them to get benefits. But now that I think I've covered pretty much everything, again, whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. Alright, is Exodus Proxima Centauri a Twilight Imperium light game?
It's Proxima Centauri.
Okay. Is it a Twilight Imperium light game? So we'll go to Sam because really he would smack it down.
I tell you what, when we first started playing, when we first got Eclipse in, that's how Tom sold me on it. This is TI3 Lite.
No, I heard this was TI3
okay.
Lite.
All right, we'll soften it a bit there. And so I'm like, oh, really? Okay, well, cool. Let's go try this out. And about halfway through the game, I'm here shaking my head. This is not TI3 Lite. This is not TI3 Lite.
Okay, I know Sam doesn't like Eclipse. I do like it, but it is a Euro game. In fact, I'll say this. For all those Euro gamers out there, I think Eclipse is a Euro game that you like to pretend is Ameritrash so that you can say, oh, I like Ameritrash too.
Yeah.
I got one good Ameritrash friend. It's Eclipse. You know, and you bring out Eclipse and you show it like, look, Ameritrash. Now it's still Euro.
And then that Ameritrash friend punches you in the nose after the game.
But this is an Ameritrash style game.
Let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
Let me finish.
Go ahead with your story.
So, when he called me about Exodus and he said, hey, I think I really do have a TI3 Lite here, my first thing was like, here we go again. So I come over and I'm very apprehensive. The board looks cool. The bits are cool. But then they have this whole expand your ship thing going on, which is a lot like what Eclipse did. So I was like, okay, well, let's see. So we get through the game, and I have to say I am very pleased. This
I didn't design it, so what do I care?
This hit the TI3 Lite mark for me. Well done, Andrea Novak.
Well, let's talk about some bits of it. First of all, Sam mentioned the components. It has plastic ships, which were pretty cool.
Yes.
Pretty cool, and you didn't have to twist them off sprues. You know, they just came in there. You know, I haven't done that in almost any game in a long time. I think the days of plastic sprues might be gone by the wayside. Thank you. But not just the plastic ships though. There's a ton of pieces in this game. There's only a few things I don't like. The cardboard's a little thinner than I would like for like the shipboards and such, and the little cylinder things, I don't like them. They roll all over the place when they fall over.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't like cubes, but I think cubes would have been a better choice here than the little cylinders. But the artwork is neat. The building your own ship thing, you know, Sam said that worried him because it was like Eclipse, but that was my favorite part of Eclipse. I love building my own ship.
See, this is the part. Look, maybe I'm just a little bit too commonsensical here, but if you're building a war ship, shouldn't it come with some guns with which to perform war? I think so. Why do you have to build a warship for this much money? And then, in addition to the money that you spent building this warship, you have to spend more money to put guns on the warship.
Well, some of the ships come with guns on them, and
yeah, but they're not good enough.
Well, not when you're playing me. But okay, let's talk about things I really like. I really like the technology tree. Fantastic.
Yes.
Most technology trees, you have to say, okay, to do this, I need the prerequisite, and for that, I need the prerequisite. And you're like looking through, trying to figure out the prerequisites. This, you build any technology you want. But
you'll pay more for it, but you can build whatever you want. You can pick and choose what you want to build up, and that's cool. Go ahead, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, it's fine. And I like that aspect of it because you can build the smaller ones first, and that's probably the wiser thing to do.
Right.
But there comes a point where you want to jump ahead.
Yeah.
And really, in every game, you'll find people picking different technologies because there's different things that will be helpful. You might want to go all out war. You might want to go all out somewhere else. The second thing I like about the game is even though simultaneous movement was a little fiddly putting the chips down, it's cool. Yeah. I'm a big fan of simultaneous movement, and I like the fact that they had two movements in a row. Move, attack, move, attack. So it wasn't the game didn't feel like you had this slow spread across the universe. No, we were in each other's faces fast.
Right.
And it does lack the grandiose nature of TI3.
Right. It's not as epic.
You have 8 ships maximum, really, but you can bring them back after they die.
Right. It's not as epic as TI3 is, which is where it's kind of a downplay for me, but that's why it's a light game, and it's not.
Well, I wouldn't call it a light game. It's just lighter than TI3.
It's a light space opera.
Okay.
Okay, I'll put it that way. It's not as heavy as TI3, which I guess would make it a medium game, I suppose. So
Well, maybe. Well, and then my final thing I really like about the game is I love the action cards.
Yeah.
I really liked how you play an action card and you have to say, okay, I'm going to play this action card and I can play the same one every turn. But what am I giving my opponents with that secondary action?
Right.
And then what's that bonus action going to be?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if I'm going to get that free bonus action, why should I bother using it as my main action?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of different things going on in the game, but not too much that I was overwhelmed. And it was the game plays fairly quickly. It says in the box 30 to 45 minutes per player, and I think that is incredibly accurate. I think with a 4-player game, which the game runs really well with, a 4-player game, once you know what you're doing, 2 hours easy. Yeah. Easy. Maybe 2 hours, 15 minutes, but for a game that gives this feel, I think that's really good.
You might want to add an hour for your first game so that you can get the teaching and rules and all that good stuff in. But once everybody knows what they're doing, 2.5 hours is pretty accurate.
Yeah, but you know, I liked it because everything was just, it made sense.
Yeah.
You use this to build your ships, you use this, and there's some risk and rewards to expanding the colonies. You know, are your guys going to not make it down to the surface in time?
Right.
And there's dice combat, which you like dice. Dice don't like Sam, but he likes them. So either way, I'm going to give this one 3 spaceships up. I really like it. I'm hesitant to say that I like it more than Twilight Imperium, mostly because Sam would punch me.
Yes, I would.
But I'll tell you what, I think it makes my top 100 because I think I'm going to get this played more than Twilight. I think.
I would agree that you'll play it more than Twilight, just because the time.
I would love it more if there was specific alien powers.
Yes.
That's not there, so I never really felt like an alien race. I mean, I'm sure they'll do an expansion. I hope that's the very first thing they do, is have alien races with powers.
Right, I was just going to say, that's probably an expansion that's coming up next.
But anyhow, other than that, love it!
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do the creepy, weird voice, but this does not, let me be very frank and very clear, this does not replace Twilight Imperium 3 in any way, shape, or form. However, it may hit the table more because of the time aspect, and I would willingly play this to scratch that TI3 itch until the healing salve of a full TI3 game can be applied. So I'm going to go ahead and give this 3 war ships bristling with those weapons that I had to pay extra for. Sending them to your home planet.
There you go. Well, a good space epic in 2.5 hours. Exodus Proxima Centauri.
Proxima Centauri. Go buy it, people.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.